Hey, what's good with you humans? This is K.L.U.N, which stands for Knowledge Lift Us Now. To hit me up with any questions about the word, you can hit me up at KLUNQA@yahoo.com. You can send all questions that I'll be answering through video, through the word only, like no opinionated things. We'll discuss your questions through the word about life, anything. And I also do dream interpretations, so you can type your dream out in as much detail as you possibly remember. And I'm not gonna stump with it. Whatever if God gives me something, I'll share that with you. If God don't give me nothing, I'm not gonna make something up just to answer your question. It is what it is. I speak through God. God give it to me, I'll speak it. If God don't give it to me, I won't. Plain and simple. Alright, I'm gonna share a quick word with y'all real quick. Just something real quick. It's about never being too young, and it picks up in 2 Kings chapter 22 verse 1. Alright, as for me, my Hebrew sucks, y'all. There's some Hebrew names in here I have the hardest time pronouncing, so just bear with me. You can follow along in your Bible. 2 Kings chapter 22 verse 1. I'm reading from the Complete Jewish Bible. Right? Good book. Any Bible is good though, but I like this one. It's real nice. You should check it out. Alright? It says Josiah was 8 years old when he began his reign, and he ruled for 31 years in Jerusalem. Alright? The boy was 8 years old, y'all. 8 years old. And he became king. Amazing. He ruled like he was ready. It's the fact that, a lot of people think that just because you are a kid or you are, under the age of accountability, that you have to be babied and treated as a child. But this child was ready to take his father's throne. And his father, Amon, Josiah's father, he did what was evil from Adonai's perspective, as had Manasseh, his father. They served idols, they abandoned God, and didn't live in God's way. They just didn't do anything that they were supposed to do. In 2 Kings chapter 21 verses 19 through 23, it pretty much tells you, like a little bit before that, it tells you what was going on. It says Amon was 22 years old when he began his reign, and he ruled for 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshulamet. Best I can get it, y'all. The daughter of Harutz from Yotzvah. He did what was evil from Adonai's perspective, as had Manasseh his father. He followed entirely the manner of life of his father, serving the idols that his father served and worshiping them. He abandoned Adonai, the God of his ancestors, and did not live in Adonai's way. Okay, first of all, you gotta look at this 8-year-old, y'all. This is an 8-year-old. His father and his father and his grandfather, neither one of them lived for God, okay? Nobody did. They wasn't even worshiping God. They was really living for something else. They was sacrificing to the false gods and idol worship. Like, they was just over there. These were the main influences for this 8-year-old child. Okay, that was all he knew. I'm sure it was his father. Like, he probably had other stuff around him that told him about God. Because it is Jerusalem, so I know he heard about Adonai, the Most High. Like, I know he heard about him, and it was in there as far as history. But his dad, who he loved and looked up to, I'm sure, wasn't living for God. And his grandfather, who he loved, I'm sure, wasn't living for God or didn't live for God. It wasn't in his family that he could see. Alright? In verse 23, still reading from 2 Kings chapter 21, picking up at verse 23, Amon's servants conspired against him and put the king to death in his own palace. So this is pretty much how the 8-year-old even became king in the first place. People conspired against his father and they had him killed, alright? So this boy got to deal with the loss of his dad. And not only deal with the loss of his dad, but he has to actually run a nation. And when he got empowered to run in this nation, you go over to chapter 22, and you read verse 2, and it says he did what, after he became, it's the 8-year-old, because it's still talking about Josiah. It says he did what was right from Adonai's perspective, living entirely in the manner of David, his ancestor, and turning away neither to the right nor to the left. So this basically lets me know that, even though through the generations, things were being handed down from his father's father, he handed down the thing of the generational curse of being idol worshippers, pagans, looking after everything other than God, not keeping his ways. The grandfather handed that down to his father, and I'm sure that the father was intending to hand down his lifestyle to his son, but God was like, that's where it stops. This boy here was totally with God. From the moment he began to rule to his death, he was with God. It says he never strayed, not to the right or to the left. He obeyed God. He obeyed. He changed it. We don't have to be all pitiful and junk just because of where we come from and the environment we grew up in. Anyone that relies on God has the power to not only break the curse, but to change the road that they were headed down. That boy was headed down the same road of just being a pagan like his daddy and like his granddaddy. He was headed there. That was pretty much the average easy road to his life. But he gave himself over to God. Prepare your children. A lot of us feel like that we need to hide. We tend to have the strategy of hiding our children, not teaching them strong biblical lessons because we say they're kids, they can't grasp it, or they're children, they won't get it, or that's too much for a child, or don't let the child do this and do that. And we tend to shelter our children when we really should be educating our children. If you don't want the world to influence your children, you have to tell your children what is right. A lot of times kids are influenced by the world because they don't have any God-fearing logic to combat the things that the world is presenting to them. And if we just don't talk to our children and we don't prepare them, then they'll grow up and fall into the same traps that we keep falling into as a race of people over and over and over and over and over again. Living for ourselves, not living for God. Wanting to be like a human, a popular, successful, rich human being you pick, instead of wanting to be conformed to the image of Jesus. So, just be serious with your kids. Start teaching them the word. Start teaching them about life. Start teaching them what's right by God's eyes. So instead of your kids being influenced, they'll be able to put up a defense, and they won't be influenced. They'll be like, nah, you can't. Nah, the Bible don't say that. That's just him living wrong. That's not something that I'm supposed to be doing. Arm your kids. Your kids are the future. And also, who's to say what's gonna happen? Your kid may have to stand on their own at 8. And still guiding your children. All of us. I love you, humans. May you all have a blessed and wonderful day, you and your families. Seek to get closer to God. If you think you already have a great relationship with God, get closer. We are never to a point in life to where we don't need to get even closer than what we are to God. It's an eternal, it's as long as you keep waking up and opening your eyes, seek God. Alright? I love y'all. Y'all be safe out there. Be responsible. Deny the flesh. Live for the Father. Live for the Son. And listen to the Ruach HaKodesh inside of you. Shalom.